Hello and welcome to our first ever Fireside Chat. We are very excited to be here with you today. My name is Dr. Rader. I'm the director here at ICS. I'd like to introduce you to our elementary principal, Mr. Lance Kershner, and our middle school and high school principal, Mr. Darryl Harding. We are going to be here today to share a few things about what we've experienced in the first semester of this year. So Darryl, I want to start with you. We've talked a lot about the community here at ICS and the experience that you've had with it. I'd like you to share just a little bit, now that you've been here for the first semester, just share a little bit about your experiences.
Yeah, well, I mean, you'll remember I came last year in November and got to experience the campus and its vibrancy and to see the students and the parents and the teachers all interacting, but that was a short snapshot in time. And this year we've been impacted by COVID and not being able to meet face-to-face with our parent community, but out and about in the community I do get to see them in shopping malls and in the apartments, and it's been a very welcoming experience. Everything I felt while I was here has been re-imaged and I've kind of experienced that piece firsthand now. The students are fantastic, they're warm, they're engaging. Just watching how the chapels and Week Without Walls groups work with 6th grade all the way up through 12, and how those 6th graders are looking up to the 12s, and the 12s are modeling good ethics and morals and values for our 6th graders. And you see them engaging in the hallways, the little COVID elbows that they give each other, and the little tiny ones shouting out to some of our students in 12th grade from across the parking lot. It's really warm, and it just brings that authenticity that I felt last year, but I didn't really get to experience. Looking at things like our NHS students and how they've been just so creative and tenacious in overcoming the restrictions that we have and still finding unique ways to serve, whether it be online ELL classes in the elementary class, or going out in smaller groups to Willing Hearts, or going out in smaller groups to the beaches. It's just been a lesson in creativity, positivity, just perseverance, and just warmth. It's magical here.
That's good. So Lance, this has actually been your third time to live here in Singapore. How has this been different for you, and how has this experience been for you?
Well, for us being our third time in Singapore, most of my professional career has been here. And also both of my children were adopted here. So I became a dad ×2 while living in Singapore. So Singapore really has a special place in our hearts, and it really is home for us. So in many senses, it feels like we're coming back home. One thing that really stands out in my mind is that coming in this time was much different with the COVID situation. We went directly from the airport into quarantine, and that was a challenge. 17 days in quarantine, in one room, one bed, one bathroom, one family all together. So there were some challenges, but we made it through because we still felt connected. Even though we were isolated there, we still felt connected with the community. Our member care committee took excellent care of us.
Right.
We had grocery deliveries, food deliveries, phone calls, text messages, just really felt a lot of special love and care even before we came on campus. And so that's something that really stands out in my mind about this particular move back to Singapore.
I want to ask both of you this question because it actually involves both of you. As you've looked at and walked through the classrooms and done classroom observations and been around school and seen other activities, just share a few things about some of the things that you've experienced and seen this first semester.
Sure. Well, there are obviously many highlights. It's hard to pick just a few, but something that I've noticed consistently is just the creativity of teachers amidst the challenges and the restrictions that we have had with COVID. And while it's a blessing to be on campus face-to-face, that is something that we are extremely grateful for. But it has presented some challenges with some of the different spacing restrictions and grouping restrictions that we need to comply with for the safety of the children. But even so, the creativity of the teachers is outstanding. The way that they're still able to make learning fun and engaging and still connect with students and develop strong relationships with them to continue moving learning forward for the children has been fantastic. That is something that I've seen just as an example in some science and math activities throughout the elementary school, the way that they're able to really provide authentic learning experiences. For example, I was in a grade 4 class and students were building electrical circuits, and in grade 5 they were experimenting with chemistry and creating chemical cars outside, and seeing how far that the cars could actually go, and measuring that and problem solving to see how to create the right chemical reaction in order to make the car move. So some really amazing things in math as well. Just as another example in math, in grade 3, I got to see the students learning about area. And so rather than just learning about area from the math book, they were outside on the court making hopscotch with tape and measuring the area of their hopscotch board, and then getting to play hopscotch with that. So really bringing learning to life in some fun and creative ways, but at the same time having a really positive and powerful impact for some deep learning for the students as they develop those skills and concepts. So another place that learning growth has been really evident this year is looking at our map data. We just recently finished doing our map tests across the elementary school, and looking at the data and comparing it to our previous map scores, even with the challenges of online learning during the circuit breaker, our students have made significant gains. Just looking at the growth across the elementary school has been extremely encouraging, and so just thinking about taking the students where they are now and continuing to move that learning forward is going to be really amazing.
Yeah, you brought up map scores, and we saw the same thing in the middle school in our map data, that there's continual growth and pretty exceptional growth as well. Like it's not your average what you would expect, it's above and beyond what you would expect. And we just got our PSAT scores back for our grade 9, 10s, and 11s, and that again shows exponential kind of growth going up through our cohorts. But also compared to the rest of the world, the international schools and the U.S. schools, we're well above and beyond what's happening out there. And I think the creativity and the teaching and learning that's happening, it's a product of what we offer in our classrooms here. My observations, I've seen in design, for example, where the students have coded a group of LED lights to do something on another product. So one person has their mask coded so that when the temperature raises in their mask, a smile comes onto the face, and they've sewn this on, like the skill of sewing. When was the last time you sewed something, right? I mean, these things that the kids are learning, the way the teachers have been creative. Again, in design, they've got the animals. We're centered around cruelty to animals and the welfare of animals, and looking at endangered animals to send a message, but also bringing coding into it, so that a great example is the blue whale. And when you put your hand towards the mouth of the blue whale, it closes its mouth, and you start questioning, well, why did you do this? And it talks about how the habitat's being impacted, and how what they eat is being limited to by their habitat and what we're doing to the earth. There's all sorts of examples that are out there. AP Stats had a fantastic presentation with Miss Dibler's class. They went out and collected some real data from students here, and they had to learn and figure out how to sort the data and which type of collection made the most sense for the type of the data they were collecting and the questions they were answering. So it's just really engaging what I'm seeing out there. And you mentioned the creativity of the teachers having to overcome, but just the creativity of the students too. It's just something to marvel at. Every time I go into a different class, you've got eggs being dropped off of the 4th floor. You've got bungee jumps coming off of the ceiling with other breakable items. Kids making calculations to get it as close to the floor as possible without breaking the egg. Our play, our drama production, that's in the middle of their practices and getting ready to film, and some of it's hilarious, just watching those kids kind of loosen up. We've got some kids in there who are really high academic achievers, and you walk into a class and they're very quiet, but you go in there and it's a completely different kid. It's just phenomenal going into classrooms. It's my favorite part of the day, going into the classrooms. It's just a wonderful experience.
Some wonderful things there. Yeah.
So now, Dr. Rader, for you, this is your 2nd year here at ICS, and I'd like to hear from you, what are some of the changes and some of the challenges that you face now that you're in your 2nd year and you got a greater understanding of the school, its history, and where it needs to go?
Well, I think the most obvious challenge has been what we've done with COVID and the things that we've had to overcome with COVID. And I think those kind of center on a number of things. The move to online learning in the spring was a huge challenge and something that we had to face quickly. We had to pivot very quickly into that. I think the other piece of that was the issues that came with trying to communicate out some of the changes that were happening very, very rapidly out of the government, trying to make sure that was very clear to the parent community. And then probably another big area that has been impacted has been with admissions. As we've had to alter our approach, we've gone more virtual with some of the approaches that we've taken. With a great deal of success, which we're really very happy about. Probably the second big hurdle that has been, not really hurdle, but change has certainly been with our admin team. This is a wonderful thing. To have the two of you here has made such a difference for our students, for our faculty, for our community. We've made some other changes in our admin team, and it's been really a great year. As we have continued to grow together and build trust. The other thing that's actually happened as a result of that has been an increase in the number of contacts that we have in terms of recruiting. This year's recruiting has gone very, very well, and we're getting more experienced teachers coming in next year, and part of that is because of your contacts, and I thank you for that. I think that's a really wonderful thing. The third challenge that continues to be there for us is a challenge of a new campus. And I think this is something that certainly you all have walked into this year and I did last year. This is something that continues to be with us every single day. We're working every single day in order to try to find a long-term solution for our campus. We are here on this campus. We have an agreement until 2026. That is very, very important as we lay the foundation and we continue to focus on teaching and learning. That is the most important thing. But ultimately our goal is to find that new campus, and we're working very hard for that. The fourth thing really centers on community. I think I've always known this is a strong community. It's what drew me here. I think it's what drew both of you here. But to see the resiliency and the faithfulness of our teachers, our staff, and our community, and families has been really, really inspirational in so many ways. Let's turn our attention for just a minute to your own families, because I know that's been a big part of your experience here. Yeah. How's it been for them coming to ICS, and what are they kind of looking forward to during this Christmas season? We're going to have a little bit of a break, so just share a little bit.
My kids have been, because we've lived all over the world on different continents, and my students my own kids have been in big schools and they've been in small schools, and there have been advantages of both. There have been challenges with both, but something that really stands out here, being a small school community, is just how connected that they feel. And I've got a grade 1 student and a grade 9 student, and for my grade 1, she could make friends with a brick wall. Like she has no challenges there. She's just excited to be here, making friends, and really happy to be on campus every day, having fun and learning. I was a bit concerned about my grade 9 daughter coming in, just because it's such a tough age to make that type of a transition, right? But I've just been really blessed to see how she has connected with her peers. There's just some great kids here, and she's got a great friend group that she feels extremely connected with, and they support one another. And the teachers as well have just come around her and supported her, both academically and emotionally with such a tough transition. So she's really doing well. One thing that was very, very clear when we came in is just the level of academic rigor and the high expectations that teachers have for the students. And so my high school daughter came in and had some challenges in some certain places, but teachers have gone above and beyond to help her with that. They're meeting with her after school. The classes where she really thrives in, she's continuing to do well in those classes and work at a high level. And classes that are more challenging because the expectations are very high, she's having a lot of support and is continuing to make fantastic improvements. So I couldn't be happier with how my kids have really flourished since we started at ICS. So you asked about something that we're looking forward to for Christmas. Obviously, it's going to be a challenge not being able to be back in the U.S. with our extended family, but it also gives us an opportunity here in Singapore to start some new traditions. Something that my oldest daughter and I used to enjoy doing when we lived in Singapore before was going down to Orchard Road to see the lights and the Christmas decorations. So we're looking forward to doing that over the Christmas holiday. My youngest is fascinated with the double-decker buses here. So one of the things that we're looking forward to doing is getting on one of those double-decker buses up on the top level and going down Orchard Road and seeing the lights up close. So she'll be really excited to do that.
That's great. That's great. How about you?
Yeah, I'm similar to Mr. Kershner, where my kids have felt warm and that welcome community. It's the reason we came here. When I visited, we had that overwhelming feeling that this is where we wanted to raise our boys. I've got a boy in 4th grade and in 6th grade, and the challenges they faced, in the past, adjusting socially to the last place we were, was significant, and it played heavy on our hearts. But they come here and it's just on day 1, minute 1, they've never been unhappy ever. My oldest loves school again. He loves to come to school again. It's not a battle in the morning to get him to come to school. It's a battle to get him to go home. They look forward to the holidays, but they don't look forward to not being around their friends and their classmates and their teachers. We come from an IB background. Both my boys spent, Aiden did his entire elementary education in the PYP, and Kian half of his. And I too have noticed some gaps in the learning, in particular, in mathematics. And the way the teachers have stepped up and said, right, here's how we're gonna help you fill in those gaps and fulfill the learning objectives that are out there has been just stunning. I mean, I remember talking to Aiden's math teacher at the beginning of the year and saying, you really got 3 goals. 1, for him to actually be able to go to grade 7. 2, that he doesn't hate math. He doesn't even have to like it, just don't hate math. And 3, that he grows in confidence. And I want to say by the 31st of August, Mr. Han had reached all 3 of those goals just by dedication, hard work, constant communication with the parents. Kian is like Lily, he could make a friend with anybody. Aiden's a little bit different, but yeah, it's just amazing watching them getting to move around and all the friends they have and the phone calls they got and the text messages and the emails and the play dates, and it's just been something, a real answer to prayer for us. Absolutely. To be honest. It's this is I think the happiest the whole family has been in quite a while.
That's great. That's great. Well, I want to thank both of you for being able to be with us here for our first ever Fireside Chat. It's been really enjoyable to be able to share a little bit about and what's been going on at ICS, reflect a little bit on the first semester, and we're excited about this year. We're excited about our school, and we wanted to be able to share that with you. We're so thankful in many ways because we've had the opportunity to meet together face to face this entire semester. So many schools in the world have been on again, off again, and some not even able to meet at all face to face. So God has been so good in so many ways to allow us to do that. Our community has risen to every challenge that's been thrown in front of them, and we're so thankful. Our PTF has made adjustments in the way that they have brought on different events and initiatives, and just as one example, but so many things that have gone incredibly well throughout this whole thing. And we're just, I want to say we're thankful for really what this season means, and let's remember that we're really, Christmas is about celebrating the birth of Christ, and we talk about the reason for the season. Christ is the reason for the season, and we're thankful for that. And Christ needs to be in the center of everything that we do at ICS. And as we head into that our Christmas break, I do want to let all of you know that our prayer is that Christ's love will be at the center of everything that you are doing in your family celebrations. And we just want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.